Hey, Nate. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Joe. Hey, Sean. How
Hey,
you doing?
Hey, Zach.
Whew. Sorry, I'm still getting myself set up here. I was trying to. Hours we're down today. So we're a little bit behind. All right, though. Whew. Hey, can you hear me? What's up, Eric? I'm going to post this link in the Facebook group, and then we'll get started. Hey, Dustin, how are you? Good. What's up, man? Just give me a moment here. Send this out. How's everyone doing today? How's the weather? Right now. Okay, we're good to start. We're good to go. Let's change the world. Joe McLean, how you doing, sir?
doing all right.
Good. Sean, how are you? Sean, did you email me about that test account that I sent over to you?
Yes, it works. Thank you.
Did you try it out yet?
Yes.
Cool. Good. So, you ready to join?
Yes, I probably join either today or, well, this week, definitely.
Cool. Great. Hey, Eric, how are you? I saw you join. Welcome. Happy to have you.
Yeah, everything okay? Everything great?
Everything is great.
Everything is great.
It's like controlled chaos over here. Woo. Nate, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. Just driving back to my office from a little haircut, so I'll be muted for the most part, but I'm listening.
Yeah, no problem. How'd that demo go this morning?
It was good, actually. It was he said, "Hey, I don't usually like third-party softwares." He's been burned by SpinCar in the past because of slowing down his website, but I explained that Cloud Pano doesn't do that, so that was good. I at least got his ear, and he's going to consider it, but he's still a little hesitant. Got some winning over to do.
Yeah, makes sense. I understand. Yeah, so it's a good example of like, there's always so many like concerns or objections that folks will have in the automotive world. And if you can kind of like build a Rolodex of answers that are truthful, can never lie, never, ever lie, but if they're truthful, they make sense, they're logical, then it can be a great, it's great to have a resource together. So this morning, me and Nate were testing. Nate wrote some really good emails. I added those newer ones to the STEM Reseller program because we can use those in the future. So we tested out what, some good, some not as good, and we've seen some really good results from some recent changes. So just based on metrics we've seen. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's like we're gonna continue to optimize and make it better. So that's kind of one of the promises. But so Garth, what's up, man? You made it this time. Looks like I had so many people last time who tried to join, who had problems, couldn't get in there, and getting into the call. It was like 28 of us, 30 of us yesterday, and it turns out all you had to do was just take that URL and just copy and paste it into the browser. It works. So for some reason, the clickable URL wasn't working. I don't know. I think I was moving too fast on the page creation part, but it's okay. So here we are. How are you, man?
Good.
Where are you located?
South Carolina, Columbia.
Cool. Columbia, South Carolina. That reminds me of Hootie the Blowfish. That's one of his songs. He's from South Carolina.
I'm still getting used to. I've been here 3 years. I'm still getting used to it. I'm from the north. I'm from Connecticut, so it's a bit of a. It's almost like a culture shock actually coming down south. It's weird.
Yeah, it's funny because that's way northeast of me. Like I think of it as north, but like for you it's south. Like it is. I guess it is the south. The south.
It's south. Yeah. Coming down here rather than coming up here.
Yeah, of course. The culture is different. That's interesting. I'm excited to grow that market. I'm excited to grow every market. You know, our plan is going to be fun. I haven't revealed what I'm calling the warpath yet.
Right. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and it's going to be really simple. I'm not sure if everyone on this call is in the program just yet. I don't think I but of course this is open call, so anybody can join and ask questions. But essentially, we're gonna like take the first week or so, get all on the same page, and learn and grow. It's like, hey, here's what it is. Here's what we can do. Here's what we can't do. Here's how to represent yourself. Here's how to build like your contact or your relationship. I would say network at first. How we're gonna do it. The most important part is like relationship selling at the end of the day is like so helpful. So how we do that is we go out and make contacts and show up and build relationships, and shake hands and smile and be kind, and be honest, and try to be helpful as possible in our local marketplace. So that when folks think of 360 spin, they don't think of Cloud Piano or whatever other competition or whatever. They think of like Garth, or think of Joe, or think of Zach. Like, oh yeah, Zach's my spin guy. He's been there before. And now that I'm considering that, or now I'm considering the seed been planted, when he comes back, I might try it out and get it going.
Right.
And that's what my strategy has worked for me over here in Houston. Some of those doors, some of those walls, I'm still trying to knock down, still trying to win them over. You know, I got one guy who I walked in there, couldn't meet with me, but through a couple email exchanges and back and forth, he finally, I ended up sending him an account. I used his account, try it out. And he made some spins and he understood the value, liked it, and he's just on the edge of saying yes, right? So now it's on me to be consistent follow-up, right? To have him on my list, to give him some calls. Hey man, how you doing? Just checking in kind of thing. And he, at some point he's gonna know my number, so I gotta kind of use different phone numbers. Hey man, it's me again, just checking in, just want to see if you're ready to get started, because I know you're ready to get started. He's basically on the edge that he likes it. He's confirmed he likes it. He confirmed the price isn't too much. So now it's on me to be consistent, right? And not be annoying. It's a healthy balance. It's okay to err on the side of a little bit pestering, because I'm like, I'm looking to move the needle, right? So it will be like a lot of relationship selling. A lot of the stuff that scales maybe in other industries that are not local. Won't apply as much. That's okay. It's actually a good thing. Being the local guy, man, there's so much power in that. So that's kind of our big strategy overall, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I can see how it works actually. When you take the photograph of the VIN number straight up front, that kind of labels the vehicle straight in there, and I can see the benefits to the dealerships. I mean, from where I am in Columbia, in terms of the whole of South Carolina, there's thousands and thousands of dealerships. I suppose you start with the big ones first, and you work your way back. And yeah, I know what you're talking about, sales. Some people just go for it. Some people tire kick. Some people just like hum and ha and don't do anything. But you just got to keep following through until you get a yes or a no.
That's right.
And then you move on, right?
That's exactly right.
And I've done that before. So
yeah, in the pipeline, if I've overcome all the objections, I understand the sales process, and I'm very clear on what I'm offering, what the value is, and they get it, and they like the price. Well, it's removing them to either yes or a no. That's our goal. It's okay if they say no. That's just part of sales, part of business. But if they haven't said yes or no yet, they're just waiting for you to be consistent, and that's how I look at it in my mind. They're just looking for you to keep coming back to me, bro.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over.
That's right. You get it.
And then even then, it's not over for them.
I heard
They'll get that follow-up email.
Yeah, I've heard one guy tell me before, I had this bot I have a LinkedIn automation run that just runs, okay, just like talks to people automatically. And it talked to one guy 3 times, and he finally responded. Last guy goes, "Hey, I like your persistence." He said, "I tell my salespeople to close 5 times." Like I was like, so he just responded to me because he liked the fact that I was persistent. Now he didn't know he was a bot.
Because he's a salesman and he recognizes it.
That's right. So he appreciated that, and like a lot of folks do appreciate it, and it kind of depends. Like sometimes I love being sold to. There's times I'm like, "Sell me, bro. Come on, bro. Hook me, bring me in, draw me in, show me the value. I can't wait until I get sold to." And there's times when the product service match isn't there, and I like hate being sold to, right? So it's like you got to kind of find those folks that love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like YouTube where they keep sending you the same video over and over. They keep sending you the same ad over and over again because somehow they know that's what you really were looking at. I'm not going to click on that T-shirt. I'm just not going to do it. Nope.
Yeah.
9 times later, nine times seeing that ad later, I go, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
Cool.
just sales, right?
So I kind of wanted to do a quick repeat yesterday, but I know a lot of folks are already were here yesterday as well too. So I want to make sure that I'm not too redundant. Who has any immediate questions in the call that we could address quickly that could just, Joe does? Go ahead, Joe. I see your little hand that
Hey, I don't know if you call it a question or suggestion. I looked over the couple of samples you guys put on the website, and I tracked down a few competitors' spins.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they're all really choppy. I was wondering if that hardware package could come with like a high quality gimbal to kind of do away with that bounciness, and that would really set it apart.
Yeah. So I've seen it. So let me kind of give you some like background of that, which is really important. So you're looking at the spin, it's like 72 different images, right? Captured from the video that we're scanning, right? So you're right. Like being smooth is always better than being not smooth when you're walking around. So because we're all human beings, we have a tendency to kind of move a little bit. Just I don't know if you can see my rocking here in my chair. So those, aren't necessarily perfect, but they're realistic and they're good expectation to expect if you're going to walk around vehicles. So historically, the iPhone, we had to learn this the hard way. The iPhone 10 shifted and changed between iPhone 10 and iPhone 11. The video stabilization got much better. So in camera, video stabilization is a big deal because you can notice a big difference between the iPhone 10 outputs and iPhone 11 or 12 or 13, etc. Those are much more stable, much more smooth because it's actually just the in-camera stabilization just really will be good. So you can kind of not be that smooth, and the camera will by itself help you out. Now, there's a couple alternatives to help you as well too. We also have, I recommend, I actually really like, I don't have it in my truck, I don't have it out in the seat with me, but there's this thing called an iPhone stabilizer. And basically all it is like just little handles, you just slap it in there. So it's a $20 item. That gives you these handles you put in there, and it makes it a little bit easier depending on who you are. For me, I use it, I feel much smoother walking around the vehicle when I hold that thing. It's like $20, worth the investment. And I have to send it out to customers as well too. I have a customer who didn't like it. His name's Pierre. He was just a smooth guy. He could just walk smooth. Okay. And I actually watched him in person holding stabilizers, and he just happened to be smooth there. He held like this and walked around. So just let him do whatever's best for him. You can customize the offer. If they don't want it, they don't have to use it, But the smoothness is going to be based on like how level you keep the phone when you walk around it, number one. And number two, your kind of how you hold it was a big deal, and also what version of iPhone you have. So you have an old version of iPhone, which I'm not saying that iPhone 10 is dying, but I'm just saying in general, most folks are upgrading, and they'll continue to upgrade over time. So yeah, I would say it's like, I would say it is pretty smooth the way it is now. It's actually gotten better than what it was before. Also too, we use an optional, which I love, I think you should recommend this, a wide angle lens for the 1X lens, and the wide angle lens just puts the vehicle like right in the center of the shot, and it looks awesome. It kind of makes the vehicle pop, and it handles color and video better. So that wide angle lens attachment, it's like $20 to $40 on Amazon. You add it to the 1X lens on your iPhone, and it just looks awesome as you walk around. So that's a big
Part of the kit already. The wide angle is
do what, Nate?
the wide angle is already part of the kit.
Yeah, exactly.
And the stabilization, this is where Zach and I actually differ, is that I don't think it's necessary, because if you think, well, if you're doing it, if you're providing the service, if you're going to be a reseller and a service provider, and you can make smoother spins, get it, go for it. But if you're providing the equipment to a dealership and they have to worry about keeping track of and not breaking additional equipment, they are not going to like that. It's another reason for them to not use the product. If they think, oh, we have to use this stabilization thing every time, etc., and it breaks, they're just not going to use it. So that's the I've talked to plenty of dealers who say, like, is there extra equipment? I mean, these things get thrown around a service department, a service bay. The service techs are the ones that they fix the car, then they might take the pictures. Or maybe it's a salesperson that isn't really tech savvy and doesn't want to take the time to put his phone inside of a little stabilizer. Like, let's make it easy on him. And when they see equipment, they see headache. Like, whoever's pulling the trigger, they are the ones who are responsible for the people taking the pictures. That's usually how it is. And if there's extra equipment, that means there's extra responsibility that they don't want to mess with. They don't want to answer questions about equipment. They don't want to have to reach out to Claude Pano or the reseller about, hey, my equipment broke, what do I do? So it's less of a headache, less of a hurdle. And that's why I prefer to keep it simple. Just hold the phone. If it's a little choppy, get better at it. get smoother. The more you do it, the better you are. Might be a little choppy at first. Just keep working at it. If you're doing 100 vehicle spins a day or 100 vehicle spins in a week or whatever it is, you're going to get pretty dang smooth at it. So, but you are right, Joey. You are absolutely correct. Super choppy, especially on some of our competitors' websites. We've seen it's all in whoever's doing it, whoever's holding the camera.
Good point. Thanks. I was just thinking, if a dealer does have a concern with it, I could have, one saved on Amazon and just order it for them.
Oh yeah, super easy.
Like that.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah, and that's what we do too when it comes to just hardware. Like, if they say, yes, I want this hardware kit, most of it we just order on Amazon.
Yeah.
So we're not looking to make money on the hardware. That's just not. We want them to have success. The hardware exists so they can have more success, not because we're trying to be this great hardware provider. Cool, good question.
So, quick question then. So,
Sure.
let's just say I'm a dealer and I've, Dave over there is going to go and do the thing. So he's using his own phone. So you download an app, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and it's a movie. It's not a photograph, right?
Correct. It's converted into an interactive spin.
Okay. All right. Because I was just checking that there's easy online post-production software which enables you to do an image stabilization. I think I was just looking it up to see what that was, but I know it's out there. I've seen it somewhere. It might be just like a free app.
Yeah. So in general, like the video stabilization that I'm referring to during an exterior spin capture is really, really good already in the iPhone itself. You don't have to really worry about post-production at all, really. It's you take the spin, you press process, it will process it, and you go on to the interior and go on to the detailed photos as needed.
So one of the other questions I had, and then I saw when you've done the spin on the outside. Now you're going to do 360 on the inside, or try or get closest approximation to it. Would, like, for example, on the iPhone, you have that pano feature. Would that work as, like, if you just like clicking to a photograph that you can actually pan round in the vehicle using pano?
No, so good question. So I mentioned exterior spin. The next shooting mode is interior. So for interior,
Okay.
we use a rotator for the iPhone, or you can also use a Ricoh camera. So we're compatible with both. Okay,
Right.
so if you're providing the service, you can use your Z1 camera if you want to. It's going to be better quality output for the interior anyways. Straight out of camera, no post processing necessary. Most dealers don't know the difference.
I mean, I have an Insta360 X.
So you could use that. It's not, it won't talk to our app just yet, though. We could consider having that as an option. The dealers that we work with currently, we work with a lot of them, really love the idea of just using their iPhone and a rotator. They split in here, and there's a fisheye lens tip as well. It goes here, place it in there, and there's a button you press essentially right here. It just clicks, start or stop. Wait, it's right here. Click start, and it rotates around. Actually, I can show it to you. Just turn this thing on. And that will, and you're going to want to go into capture mode 60 seconds because just slower is just better. So take a better photo. But I'm going to show you really quickly. The fisheye lens will be on here. See how it's rotating. Actually, you know what? Let me open up interior mode real quick. And it's just kind of silly to kind of show you like this, but that's okay. So there will be a fisheye lens on here.
Right.
And then it says tap anywhere to start. So you tap anywhere to start, and then it says rotate left or right and double tap to restart. So I'm press the button and it just rotates around and captures a 360 image. Okay, it does all the stitching for you right there in your phone, and it's really cool. And what makes this what makes this different than any other platform is that we have this option, this ability, this like mobile capture ability. And nobody else does. They all require some type of camera. So our barrier to entry is actually lower. If that makes sense. Price wise. Now, overall, prices just hasn't been a concern from anybody. It just no one's really been like, oh man, it's so expensive. Like I think our competitors in the past, when they haven't asked, I've been told it's expensive, but I haven't told them the price yet, which is funny. Like, so I think our competitors in the past are just like so much higher. So we're kind of coming in and being competitive right away with the objective of just getting as many locations as possible, kind of blanketing the market, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the things that I don't understand how it works. I have lots of questions actually. Like for example, in terms of getting paid and how that works in terms of whether I need a company to do it or whether I need a website to do it or whether you provide that or whether you provide templates for that. Do I need a new domain name? I have my existing stuff that I'm working through, but it's a different animal, I think.
Yeah, so we just covered this yesterday, so I'm going to make sure that you didn't join the call, so I'm going to restart to cover it as well too. There's basically two types of dealers, and also there's two types of transactions that you can take place through, and it's being based on how they operate. So dealer A and dealer B. Dealer A is the outsourced dealer. He outsources all photography, all spin creation, video, any digital media. He's understaffed. He just wants this company just to do it, pay me $20 a car, whatever it is. I'll just have you come out and just do it as fast as you can. Twice a week you come out and do it, whatever. That person, so to set up that integration and technology with Cloud Pano is the same price as it would be if they just did themselves. So it's $300 a month to Cloud Pano. Okay, that's how it works. And you get a commission for that, right? So even if you're the guy or you're the company that has like, say you have 3 or 4 photographers who work for you, young guys, and pay them hourly, and you go out and get 5 or 6 or 10 rooftops to be like your service customer, if you are doing the photos for them. In that scenario, each rooftop is going to pay is going to be required minimum $300 a month plus whatever service fee that you want to tack onto it. So say it's $20 a car is a good $19 for a used car is a common number I've heard for just photos, and then so maybe you charge more for spins, etc. So that transaction, that invoice you send out monthly will go just to your company. It's your company, and you pay Cloud Panel privately, and it's all you, whatever you want to do. You can charge whatever you want, make as much money as you want to. That's your LLC, your company. If you approach a different type of dealer and they say, hey, we take all of our photos ourselves. We don't outsource it. We have somebody inside our company who's responsible for photos, and they do it every day. They make, and whatever software technology they're going to use is up to us internally. You say, cool, that's no problem. 360 spin software Cloud Pano is something y'all could use, and it will double your engagement time. I would love to get you guys an account and try it out. What do you think? And they'll be like, okay, tell me more. Let's set up the time to talk about it. You have a demo. You show them Cloud Pano. You show them the automated spin software. You show them an output, how it looks. You basically talk about on that demo how engagement time is the #1 leading metric between leads and also online sales. And then whenever they say, okay, how much is it? You send over 2 things: a proposal. We give you a template. You just trade out their information, so you swap it out, send it over, and they can sign it. You give them a special link, and that link is a link you create that's attached to your account, that when they sign up, that you get paid automatically. Like when the transaction comes over to Cloud Pano, you get paid automatically from that based on your commission structure. Okay.
Right.
There's 4 links, 4 options. Okay. And it sounds complicated when I say that, but basically it's just 4 negotiation pieces, and it's really simple when you think about it. We have a setup. We have a monthly recurring fee of $300 a month, unlimited spend. So they can make as many as they want for $300 a month. That's what we currently charge. There is a one-time setup fee that covers the integration and the onboarding and any onboarding call they want to do. That is $500 one time. And also too, there's a hardware kit that we mentioned at Nate showed you yesterday. It's the rotator plus the tripod plus the wide angle lens. That is $250 one time. So the way I summarize it on the call is basically it's $750 plus $300 a month. So if they at that point want to negotiate, this is why you have 4 links, you have 4 options. You can, if you want to, if they really want to waive the setup fee, you can waive the setup fee. Now, the reseller gets 50% of the setup fee. So you don't want to waive the setup fee if you can, right? So you don't start there. But if they really want to waive it, they can. So that's link number 1 is like we're not going to use, no problem. Link number 2 is we could do $300 a month upfront, and then it will start today, and then next month it will hit as well too. And that's your link number 1. And I also have a separate link to the hardware. There's no real margin, or the hardware itself is just kind of like a link for a resource. Okay. And the third link I mentioned is an example of a free trial. So a free trial would be, it's $0 up front, $300 a month after that. With that link, actually, though, we have it be $250 up front to cover the hardware. So it's 1 link. It's very simple. So it's hardware plus the free trial, $300 a month. So in that scenario, you could negotiate a free trial if they really want it. And some folks do want to try stuff out for a while, which makes sense, totally understand. And they can cancel at day 29 if they really want to. In the sales process, it's important to be able to cancel at some point if they really want to. And on the proposal, it's month to month. So it's not.
I want.
There we go. So those are options. So that is negotiation pieces. Now, the reality is that we want the setup fee. It covers our development costs. It covers the integration. It covers the time spent to do that. We don't want to just throw that away. So it's really kind of an important element. Every demo, no one's been shocked at a setup fee. Now, some folks, if they have multiple locations, like Nate has sold a company before that had multiple locations, or sold to them and almost has them as a customer, and they were like, well, we have 2 rooftops, we want to waive setup fee. Said, okay, if we can, and so if someone wants to waive something, try to ask a little something in return. Can you make a choice by this time, period. I try to meet some numbers this month, etc. So you have these options, right? Now, the way that the link works, or the setup link works, it's very simple. It's a checkout link, and your account is attached to it. So you make a little affiliate account, you have a PayPal, automatically add your PayPal to it, and it will automatically pay you, and all those terms are laid out clearly in the inside the reseller program as well. So you'll see it's called product links inside. You join, so you'll be able to look inside. It says it's the product link section.
Right.
Okay. So you send over the correct link based on the conversation on the demo, what they really want, and how they want to move forward. There will be edge case scenarios where like someone wants to work a deal or bring on lots of rooftops, and we'll talk that out and we'll work it out together. If it's a massive deal, which they do exist, we'll figure it out kind of deal. The rule of thumb is 20% to the reseller. We're talking 70 locations, 50 locations. You know, those are going to be a little more rare. You know, it's just to be honest. Now there is automotive groups that are massive entities that are very hard to get into, that take time. But if you know somebody in an automotive group that makes those choices, you love Cloud Piano, become a reseller, like, hey, this is it. Here's the connection. And yeah, we're going to make it right. Make sure you're hooked into that account somehow. We're trying to make this as much as we can automated. So that means when folks use the checkout, everything, the payouts are automated. It's very simple. Everything comes in, PayPal, I don't think about it, it just happens. There will be situations where some rooftops, some locations send out checks, and that'll be kind of a more manual process. And my solution to that is probably Cloud Piano will, as an entity, subscribe to your account somehow. So maybe it'll be a little, you have your own subscription. So I'll be the first software provider who's subscribing to my users, right? But that's okay. It's just part of the deal. So those are the kind of the two types of customers. And I kind of roll over it a little bit fast, but basically that's how it looks. And you either provide the service, and it's kind of a white glove thing, and all the invoices you handle yourself, or you send them over to Cloud Piano's checkout that is attached to your reseller account, and that one will automatically build their account. And we onboard them, we take them in, we get the integration set up. We want to do that. We want you to hand off the customer to us. Yesterday, I was asked by, was Ron, I can't remember who asked me, but he asked, like, well, can I be a part of the onboarding if it makes sense? I said, absolutely. If you have a good relationship with the customer and like you really want to be there for the onboarding call, let's do it. Join the call, jump in, you know, because sometimes like the local presence, being there, being able to help out and communicate and like say, hey, like here's what to expect, here's what you're gonna get.
Hang on a second, I didn't hear
Let me
everything.
know. Sorry, are you talking now? Or should I mute you?
Nope.
Okay. I'm gonna mute you here. Yeah. So being a part of the onboard call is totally an option. The way you identify yourself with the client, with the customer, is like you're a distributor of Cloud Piano. Like you're an approved distributor. So it's very common to like be resellers and distributors. It's a common relationship with a lot of places. So understand that software is the technology backbone, is Cloud Piano. You're the local distributor, and you're the guy that's gonna like can help out with anything. But at the end of the day, like any questions you have or any problems you have, like you can just ask Cloud Piano directly. So you kind of get the luxury of just handing off the account and go on to the next one. But there is multiple rooftop locations. People know each other. People like each other. People talk about each other. So being kind to someone who's a customer is a great way to be talked about locally to other locations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So like Houston's like that too. Like there's a Houston Automotive Dealership Association, you know, and one of our customers is funny. Like he's actually on the homepage, like smiling, like as one of the like people part of that group or that organization. So how I treat him matters, right? Because if he badmouths Cloud Piano, then there's a good chance that I'm gonna have a bad reputation. You know, I can email him today actually. Write that down. So yeah, all those things matter. This is like why it makes a lot of sense for us to help each other in this market, both sides, local and software wise. Cool. Was that helpful?
That was helpful to me. I thought of another one as well, because I mean, I do real estate. Real estate is what I do. So, you know, when you're negotiating a contract, really, it's really quite kind of flexible. And one of the things that I do, and would kind of make sense here, maybe, would be like, for example, if you wanted to wrap, you know, with a minimum, just say the dealership would say, okay, I don't want to pay the setup fee, but then you wrap the setup fee into the monthly fee, and they have to have a minimum of 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, so I was asked this question yesterday of like, can we work custom deals? Or can we like do a 6-month contract or do a year contract? If someone wants to do a year and say, then yes, the answer is yes, we'll do that. That's a much better deal. It's always been a deal. I would try to steer clear of overcomplicating the process if you can, because clarity and simplicity leads to more conversions. So you want to make the decision as binary as possible. Now, if you want to pay, we can make an annual product and like have that be a part of the product suite. That's easy to do. And
I suppose we'll just figure it out as we go along.
Do what?
We'll just figure it out as we go along. I mean, it's always a learning process.
We have a flexible mentality right now, flexible to an extent. Like we want to be flexible. Like if there's something that comes on that's a really weird edge case thing, and we'll talk about it, figure it out, problem solve, and make it happen. Absolutely. We have to be that way. That's just a function of business. Now, do we want to always operate that way? Let's keep it as simple as possible if we can. And if we have a repeatable, predictable process, let's do that. So, but there is bound to be some edge case stuff that's going to happen, and people are going to like maybe even say, hey, if I pay less to do annual, can I do that? And they won't do that based on entity, based on number of locations, all types of stuff like that could happen. Yeah. So we're going to take a flexible approach. Like I'm going to ask the question a lot to everybody. In my country, how does it work? In my country, will this work? My answer is, I think it will work. I'm not in your country. So what my point is like, well, let's go figure it out together. And if there's things we have to adapt and adjust, that's what we'll do together. I would rather do it together than you be off on your own and like make false promises and it all not work. Right? And let's just figure it out together, and then also give appropriate expectations if something's a big deal. If a big integration takes 4 weeks, let's be honest about that with our customer.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big fish. You want the big fish first, and then the small fish will follow. I mean, in South Carolina, there's tens of thousands of dealerships, and a lot of them, a lot of the really big ones like the Hondas and the Chevys and the Ford dealerships and stuff like that. They all still need it, but once they start to fall, then the little ones will follow after. Mix Auto Service on the corner with his 10 cars parked outside. It'll come along.
As long as Nick has a website, then we can help him out.
Yeah, Nick. Nick he's probably like 80 years old and he's been flipping cars his whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. There'll be things we learn, along the way too, that we just have no way of like preparing for. And but it's gonna be exciting and fun, and like and profitable, hopefully. That's the main goal. We all have fun, make money together, and go after it. So yeah.
So would I be better off with a kind of a dedicated single page website, for example, where if I'm talking to somebody, they can come and see, or does it go straight to you guys at the auto, Cloud Planner thing? How do we market that?
Good question. So would I be better off having a single page site, or would I be better off? So here's what I would do if I were you. And I'll tell me answer the question. Because at first I'm like, the marketer in me says, send everybody to Cloud Piano, they're gonna love Cloud Piano. But the reality is that if somebody wants a service from the local person, well, Cloud Piano isn't that solution. So you probably shouldn't send that person right to auto.cloudpiano.com. But maybe what you should do is have a single page site that just talks about some services. Like I've seen a girl, I prospected actually to this lady. She has, I think, 40 dealerships under her belt because she's a photographer. She's got an employee and like subcon, and she subs out work as well too. Her website is a one-page website that just talks about photo services, spins, video, and brand, whatever marketing you need. We're here to help you, kind of thing. It's a one-page site. It's got a lot of customers. So it's an example of like, people don't necessarily care about like how robust your website is. It's just like, can you get the job done? And she can. Apparently, she's a little hustler. Her and her co-worker or whatever, her employee, Now, in her scenario, like, does she mention who she uses as a software suite? Probably so, because again, there's only two kinds of customers. They either totally outsource, there's no way they're taking the photos themselves, they're not interested in doing it, or they just do it themselves and they have no interest in outsourcing right now. Now, there's some guys who transition, but that's kind of rare, or they're in between. We had a guy who said, we had guys we paid to do it. It was kind of weird. They were using their iPhones. We kind of had to do it ourselves. And that was a weird situation that does exist. But most of the time, they made a choice. But here's what I want to be. I want to ask Nate too. Nate, don't you kind of agree with that? Those are kind of what we've been exposed to. It's like one or the other. It's not as much people like in between when you're. I'm gonna ask them to meet you here. It's not working though. Do you hear me, Nate? Did I lose you?
Yeah. Okay. I'm back. I got an email, so I was checking it real quick. What was the question?
It was just like, overall, we kind of have like two types of dealerships. Either they're outsourcing totally or they're doing something themselves. There's not really kind of this bounce back and forth in between mentality. It's mostly that choice has been made pretty much when we speak to them. Don't you agree? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, to change anything in a dealership is usually a massive undertaking that requires multiple meetings and lots of stakeholders. So they just don't do it very often. So it's to adapt a software is a lot easier, but to adapt the whole process and to change what they're like, move the whole focus of a department or hire on more people, that's a new kind of that thing requires a lot more oversight. So what we've tried to develop is something that fits into their existing ecosystem without disrupting anything. So they don't have to go to as many stakeholders to get permission. They can just say, okay, yeah, we'll pay the money. If that's all we have to do is pay money and we get this new thing, and it only takes our team that's already taking photos 2.5 minutes, that's great. Or if they say, oh, we already used somebody who's doing our photos for us, then you could, if you want to, you could say, oh, I could do that. And it'd be the same, but I could charge you less, or I could use this software, I could add spin to it, whatever is your differentiator in that regard.
I can also see making money on doing training. So like if they wanted to do it themselves, you could always charge them a little bit on the side, go and do some training and show them how to do it. This is how you upload it, how it works, right?
That's typically what the onboarding fee is they go through a training process themselves, but which is why you get part of the onboarding fee though, if you want. Give them a little tips.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty easy. I mean, it's caveman proof. I mean, once you go through it one time, make one spin, you're not going to have questions. So that's what we've noticed. Guys have no problems.
Before we had the mobile app, it was not caveman proof, and we had cavemen who messed it up and lost us dealerships.
Yeah.
So we have definitely done trial and error on this thing quite a bit over the last year.
So do you guys do any kind of like helping in terms of local marketing, or is that up to your rep, me? So, I mean, it's cold calling. I understand there's going to be there's obviously, you're going to do that. That's just the way it is. Pick up the phone and hit 100 of them type of thing, and pick them off that way. What's the support material, for example? You said you provide email templates is one, right? For example, if I did my one-page website, which I will actually build in the next couple of days and see how that works, you provide links perhaps to existing spins.
Sure. Yeah.
So we can load that up and have that there. And then, you've always also got on your website, you have this long, nice kind of like list of companies that you've actually worked with before, Nissan and different companies. And we can include that.
Yeah. You can rip that off of our website directly.
I was thinking about that actually.
Yeah.
Well, hell, you don't have to do much work if you can just pull
and
it.
You could just say, be as honest as possible, and on a headline where you'd probably say, our technology is featured by the following brands, or is featuring the following brands. So your technology, Cloud Piano, is featuring the following brands, is true. It's on the platform, basically, right? Yeah. So like we had Nike, who's used Cloud Piano before.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna add them to a website. Now, just because they're a customer, does that mean like they're selling a ton of shoes through Cloud Piano? You know, I don't know. I don't know how much.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, yeah, they've been there. They are a customer, so use it.
Yeah, that's our philosophy there.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Um,
So would you like to provide, is there in the back of your mind somewhere, you guys, a template for a single page? Because I can see a single page website working that would be pretty dedicated, because I already have my 360 website, but this is different. This is kind of like detached. So it would be something, it's like a side hustle on a side hustle.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I understand the importance of focus. So like, I get that, like single market messaging is really helpful, and I totally love that, agree with that. Internally, we discussed this so many times, like just like we're beating head against the wall. It's like, hey, our website is real estate stuff, you know, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do a new brand? What are we gonna do? You know, it's that guy's internal thing. I think the main consideration is how much traffic are you really thinking is gonna be at your site? And the reality is, it's probably not very much.
No, it's probably not. But I'd like to, it's just something that you send people to. If you're having a conversation with a new dealership and you say like, here we go, this is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. If you want more information, once you've finished your first initial call, perhaps you can say, here it is. This is the website. This will explain it more in depth, and you can take your time and look through it. And then I'll call you again tomorrow.
Yeah, so the reason why I like going in person and having the conversation, because one of the first questions you're going to ask as a technology provider is, are you guys taking your own photos, or are you guys outsourcing, like when it comes to software and spin technology, and or photos or spins, etc. And they're going to tell you what category they're in. And once they tell you, you know how to talk to them, right? Does that make sense? So like,
yeah.
So the guys that are great candidates for software, I want to talk to them about software. Now, the guys that are saying, hey, I'm outsourcing everything, I don't think we need those, it's all external. It's like, well, have you guys considered anybody else locally for a better price? You know, that would be a different conversation, right? But most of the time, I mean, I'm always thinking software. So I'm walking in there, I'm saying the word software early on, so I can be compartmentalized, because people want to compartmentalize. Who is this guy? Is he bringing me, like, what's he selling me? Why is he here? You know, what department internally do I need to compartmentalize this guy who just walked in the door, so I can either point in the right direction or answer him quickly and move on? And I want to be compartmentalized as software provider, because that just makes things clear, simple. I like simple, and I can go down that path efficiently and effectively. That's what I want to do. So because I know that I'm being compartmentalized, I'm going to try to say the word software real slow. I'm going to say the word 360 spins, and I may even say the word photos, like who handles the photos, and the word website pretty early on. Like,
I would say virtual in there, 360 virtual spins, because in automotive marketing, the word 360 has gotten thrown around a ton. And in marketing in general, 360, you know, it's a comprehensive view of your business. Well, this is a literal spinning something around 360 virtually.
Yeah.
That is not a video that people are going to watch, because there's another company out there called like 360 car stuff, or I don't know what they're called, but they're basically like, they don't provide 360 spins. They provide videos that walk around the car, and that's all they do, or a comprehensive view, using the term 360, a comprehensive view of the car, but maybe they don't have anything to do with photography or media or anything. So
I suppose you can throw the word metaverse in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, throw metaverse in there. Yeah.
This is the metaverse for cars, dude.
And I have talked to the head of automotive for the metaverse, so we are in discussion with that whole environment. So get ready.
I actually will sometimes avoid the word 360 because I stutter over that word almost every time. So I'll say, hey, who's responsible for, like, have you ever heard of spins, like spin software? Have you ever heard, I'll say like an exterior spin or an interior spin on the website. Have you seen that before? Like I'm like doing this, and they go, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Or, oh, no, not really. What is that? You know, so I can barely, like, I'm already sweating walking in there. You know, so why am I gonna say the word 360 when I'm gonna stutter over that word? I might as well just skip past that word and like just use the word I can say, well, you know what spin software is? That's what we do. Right? And they're like, okay, you said the word software, you said the word spin, that's what he does. Who would be the person to, you know, who's right? And sometimes they'll say, we're actually with Lithia Automotive Group. So we don't make those calls. So in that situation, I'm like, okay, cool. Is there somebody that you know that I should talk to at Lithia, who's probably in some other state somewhere? And if they know, they'll tell me a name, I'll write it down. In that case, I gotta get out of there as fast as possible because this guy can't help me and no one in this whole building can help me. That's just the reality. Because the automotive group happens to have 500 locations. Okay, well then, that's an awesome account, but I need to be realistic with my time. I gotta go. You know, so and be respectful, and they get it. They understand. So sometimes, like you mentioned, the big entities first. Well, you don't actually know how big they are until you walk in the door and find out who owns them, right? Because these things get traded. They're like little it's like apartment houses, like a multi-family. They're getting bought and sold by people, and you know it's actually kind of an interesting world. Yeah. Joe McLean has his hand up for a while. Joe, do you have a question still? Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, I have another question. Say we sell to the software to a dealership, they absolutely love it and they want to go with it, but they have a third-party company that maybe handles like 100-mile radius of dealerships around them, travel all over and take the pictures. They're not willing to lose them. Do we still sell to the dealership and make them work it out with that other third party, or do we contact that third party and try to sell it to them?
Great question. I think the latter. We haven't crossed that bridge yet, but that does exist, where someone is already locally embedded into the ecosystem, like, and they're already taking all the photos a lot. That company probably also has like ideas of all technology very similar to us. Like we all know technology, we know what exists, we know what it costs, etc. So in that case, if the dealership wants to use it and they forward you the contact info for that provider, they're called lot service providers, then you absolutely talk to them, you know, work out a deal and try to sell a software to them as well too. A little bit harder of a deal to make go through, but can happen and can be good. That'll be a situation where you're like, hey, this dealership love the software, they want to use it. I would love to get you guys set up. And in that situation, if the dealership wants to use it and wants to pay for it, and they've already paid for it, and they're taking photos, then the person that uses it doesn't really care if it's already paid for. I think that would be a pretty simple sell. Like if they've already paid for it, I'm gonna train you guys up on it. You know, if you have time. They're like, yeah, sure. And then you're gonna talk deal. Hopefully, hey, how many locations do you guys have? I would love to be y'all software provider. I'm gonna prove distributor for Top Cannon.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it could lead to a lot more dealerships you didn't even intend on going to that they service.
Absolutely. So I've seen other companies do this, and it's of course at a lower fee. Like it's not going to be at this like $300 a month level. It's going to be a different fee structure. It's going to be more custom. You know, if someone's got 40 locations, like we're going to work out a deal that makes sense to everybody. You know, in that scenario. So yeah. Does that make sense, Joe?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
It can also exist outside of their photo process. If they just have somebody that can go take 2.5 minutes to do a virtual spin and they want it to be separate from their photo process, that's cool too. They probably won't, but it's possible.
Yep, and every one of them is different.
Yeah.
So it's one of the most interesting markets that I have ever been exposed to. It's like they're so different, every location, run different, the person in charge is different, and there's definitely repeatable things, of course. But man, it's like an interesting industry. It just requires an educated person to walk in there and like have a conversation and like be honest. Hey, tell me how's it work? How can I help? You know, what are you guys doing? Here's what we're doing, and then things have a tendency to flourish from there.
In all honesty, this was because I'm kind of tasked with, hey Nate, figure out what industry we're going to go into next in some ways, and then bring it to Clayton and Zach and our leadership team. We'll discuss it. We'll rip it apart. You know, I don't think we anticipated the automotive industry would be this difficult to crack. But as we got further in, it was almost like, well, we're in it already. We might as well keep going. We just took little steps as it is, but it's like, there's a reason there is a barrier to entry for other like 360. You're not going to see a Matterport ever in the automotive space here. Like, doesn't exist. You will not see the word Matterport on an automotive spin website, or on a dealership website. But there are existing players in the space, but it's just it has definitely been a challenge, and it continues to be a challenge to navigate kind of the software side of things. But we have figured out like a lot of the legwork we've done for the sales part of it and the marketing part of it and all that kind of like decoding the secrets to the automotive space, and just talking constantly to a lot of dealerships and just asking them for their advice. That's what's led us to where we are here.
Yeah, it's a really cool, interesting thing for sure. But it's exciting because it's massive. So I'm excited to see how many people bring like weird locations on, like more farms or whatever, or it's brand like that cow you showed yesterday. That was like so funny. It's just stuff like that, you know. I'm excited about. But yeah, it's gonna be good. Any more questions here? We got. Let's see. What's up, Trent? How are you? Hey, Al. How are you? Mark, how are you? Sean, how you doing? Mrs. Galot, how you doing? Cool. Any questions you guys have? Do you want to have answered real quick?
So just quickly, I mentioned it before in terms of what you have on the back end for us as, you know, templates and marketing materials. Is there something coming down the pike for that type of thing?
Yes, absolutely. So we have we have case study PDFs that we've already built, and we're going to add on to them as well. We also have industry statistics as well, and I'm working on what's called a technical sales argument as well. I haven't started yet because I'm doing this first. We're launching this, but basically, just like the thesis written out, like why this works, how it works, and Nate did a really good job of like conjuring up and gathering data. So we have all the data. Data is really, really good stuff. Now we got to like make it to where it's consumable and easy to consume and look at. See data, see later on. So that's coming as well too, because resources to follow up with are super helpful, right? So that process is important. It's a big deal. So, and people pass stuff around internally. So we send something over, it popped around. So we want to make sure it's good stuff.
Right. Okay.
Cool. So the answer is yes, always. More to come. Yeah.
There's always more to come. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah, that's true. Good questions. Good questions so far. Has everybody on the call seen like what spins look like? Has anyone maybe wondered? Actually, let me pull this up. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, but I can. Real quick. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So let me pull up. So I showed some examples before. And it's like, here's an example you're going to get in your accounts to go sell with. Like really easy.
So is that the VIN number?
It is, yeah. So those VIN numbers are what's automatically appearing. So we're pulling that from the app into the title. Now, where it gets sent over from a technical side for the integration is actually right here. Right there. So let's say you make one manually and you want to know where is this being added. When you save it, it's saved here. So the first step is to add the VIN. And if you have to come back and change a VIN later, etc., like in your account, you just do it right here. And you click save. We find that VIN, and that's what populates automatically onto the website. So that's how we know which spin are we gonna add in those things? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can add in, I got details. There we go. So you can add in hotspots, info spots, just like you could on the normal photo. The difference is important is that there's like a invisible cube here that you can't see, so you can't actually add them over here, way off the kind of in the center.
So the dealership is going to have it's going to have access to this, obviously, right? So once you've sold the software, they get their own kind of Cloud Pano account where they can actually do the info spots themselves and stuff, right?
Correct. Now, something we've learned that most dealers are kind of strapped for time. So time per spin is like one of the most important elements. Like if they're gonna ask you, how long does it take? So you're gonna wanna say under 3 minutes, which is just the exterior spin, the interior spin. If you take detail photos, it'll take you a few more minutes, right? But like time is money, right? So they want to get pictures up as fast as they can so they can get it sold as fast as they can on to the next vehicle. So hotspots, info spots are some of the most engaging elements. They keep you there, you're clicking on, you're looking at them, etc. But they also, and the way they are now, is they're time consuming on top of So what we're building next, which is coming next for them, which is a big deal, so we call it automated AI hotspots. It's kind of an industry term. So let me click save real fast. Oops, I just deleted that. I was going too fast. Gosh. So real fast. So automated AI hotspots. What does that mean? So what we're going to be doing is like the third element, the third capture mode is actually detail photos. So just photos on the iPhone that you take. So let me publish this real quick. So as you're capturing, you've taken your spin, you've done your interior, now you want to add some detail photos. Well, you can click on that photo type and say, yes, I want to add this hotspot on, what this is. And we can we're going to kind of templatize the locations so that you go find, like, okay, here's steering wheel, click there, take the photo. Yes, I want to add a hotspot. And then go on to the next photo. What's going to happen is internally, like say, it would probably be external at first. So like, steering wheel or left side of the car, left side of the car, click yes, I'm gonna add a hotspot. And automatically we're gonna add the hotspot to the left side of the vehicle. When you click publish, it'll just be there. So that when someone goes to click on that photo, it will automatically have the hotspot there and it will appear like an info image hotspot. So let's just try to make an example. I know right now it's not necessarily like, if I'm going to add an info spot here that is kind of random. It's not the actual picture. So just kind of be creative with me if you don't mind. So right now, image hotspots are just like you add like, door or whatever. You add this information. You upload an image. Let's say it's like this banner. It could be any image, right? It's how we do it for Cloud Piano. And you click save. I'm actually for some reason I'm in love with these specific hotspots. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna click save, and I'm gonna publish. So see how it kind of rotates with it, which is really cool. This is like amazing how it does this, by the way. So it's really hard to do. So this right here, when someone clicks it, it will be an image, whatever image they took, they attached it to. Now that's right now it's an image hotspot based on whatever image I added. So I just added this image, this little banner. But they'll be able to see the door, see the dent, see the ding. Does that make sense? And it's really easy to do. Just right there with the app. Boop, boop, go, boop, moving on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
It does. So the hotspot follows it around because of course now you're actually, instead of facing out the way, you're facing in the way. So you're using a video to walk around the vehicle. So the hotspot stays center screen. So like if the see interior
See how it's moving with it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it disappears on this side. See?
Why does it disappear?
Well, because if you think about it, if I have hotspots everywhere, if I'm on this side, that would be an irrelevant hotspot where I'm clicking.
Yeah. I was thinking like a sticky hotspot that doesn't stick to the video but sticks in the screen. Anyway, that's just my thought. But yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Clayton, he said he had some savant moment when he was able to make this, and he like did it incredibly fast, and then he just like fainted afterwards, up all night kind of thing.
So you do have examples that we can transport and use. If we did a single page website, they're pretty easy to do. You have examples that we can pull in from Cloud Pano and use those examples, for example, right?
Yeah, for sure. So like then you can just share and use.
Zach?
Yeah,
Question. When you were doing the hotspot just now,
yeah.
obviously the hotspot was moving. It wasn't sticking. So is the intent in the future that it'll stick? In other words, are we going to create like a box, like a 3D box? And so you're applying, this invisible box and you're, locating it to the car in that location? Or is it, I don't know what the technology you're using to stick that hotspot. Are you with me?
What are you asking me?
Well, just what you just did, the hotspot moved. Okay, so if I'm touring the car, the hotspot moved. It just didn't move to the other side. It was when you stuck it. So that was one question, was how's that working or not? Then the other thing was, as far as this goes, I can think that there's a couple places on a car that they might want to feature, like if there's the trunk or there's the hood, as far as a hotspot. The same thing on an interior. There's certain spots that would be appropriate, like the glove compartment or whatever it might be, certain things that would be hotspotty. But
yeah,
I was thinking of not an opposite, but you brought up in the beginning, or at least in the video the other day, about like campers, and going to RVs. They have a bunch of compartments outside the vehicle. So walking around, it'd be appropriate to have hotspots in those single shots of those areas. How does that work? Because I could see that was one of their biggest questions was, do we have the ability to hotspot? So yes, so that's good. And then the second part was, how does that work? And obviously in an RV, there could be 5 or 6 different automatics, at the tongue, certain sides, certain features going all the way around. They could automatically need to be hotspotting, let alone going inside. So that's one set of questions. The second thing was on your reseller thing. So, and I think I heard it from your partner in crime there. So is it, because I joined like 10 or 15 minutes after the call started, is the 20% reseller, is that just pretty much the deal? 20% for the ongoing 300 fee and 20% of the onboarding fee?
No, well, yes and no. So at first, your first 5 locations, it's the 20% number is basically $50 a month for the first 5 spot locations. Then 6 to 10 is $75 a month, and then 10 plus if you're at $100 a month per location. So again, 10 locations, you'll make $1,000 a month passively. That's if you just sell software. The setup fee, we give 50% of that. So that's $500 one time. So it's $250 for the setup fee. Setup fee is optional. At the end of the day, it can be a negotiation piece, but for us, it does cover the integration. It does cover our onboarding. So we do want to be able to charge it if we can. And of course, if you do end up successfully selling that, which I think it's basically a no-brainer for the dealership, then you get half of that, right? That makes sense?
Yeah, and you know what? And to Gareth, I don't know if you realize it, Gareth, but I've done 3D scanning and things, and then also doing drawings for clients. And this onboarding thing, to try to make it work. I know when I was trying to talk to the dealership for the RV, there's a little bit of hand-holding to make this thing work. And there's everything that they were saying. So this $500 fee, I don't think they're going to spook on it at all, especially if it includes training and whatever. So yeah, I don't see that as a miss. There is definitely a coordination. I've got a system. It's not the same system as this. How do I make this work? How do I do it? And there is a level of, I want this one and done. And clearly we're not one and done unless we have that integration thing. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, so I said this before, yesterday, every time I put in pricing, the $750, so it's $250 plus for hardware, and they could opt in for a Z1 camera, so that's $1,500 bucks. But the $750, which is $250 and $500 one time, plus the $300 a month is a no problem, no brainer price point. I mean, it's not like it ain't much. They can charge a lot more for a lot of other things. Let's put it that way. We actually are lower end of the market right now. We may in the future raise the price, which would be good for everybody. But yeah, so you're right. It's a no-brainer. Now to answer your other question about how hotspots work and then also like options for RVs. So
Right.
we have one RV dealer who's made over 200 tours on Top Gear of all their RVs. Just flying through them. What he loves about it is that
With the spin, Zach, or with the old technology?
with the previous technology, just Volcano itself.
Okay.
He'll take a photo, then he'll open up something, say a bed or a couch into a bed, and they'll take the same photo. Those kind of his two assets. And so people like to see that in general. So as you're selling it, like you can basically say, we can make one photo do this, one photo do that, and like have a hotspot that goes to that's no problem. And the showing those components is super helpful. So what I just showed you a moment ago was an image info spot. Okay, so you click on that info spot as a viewer, it opens up an image, right?
Okay.
That's the components of it, right? It's like the bones. Right now, as you saw me do it, I'm on the desktop editor. I'm doing this with my computer, right? Most of the time in automotive, not always in RV, it depends. Most of the time in the automotive world, they're high volume, they want to go fast. Average margin of a car is $1,200 to $3,000. They want to move the vehicle, go on to the next vehicle, right? So making a super custom experience isn't high on their priority list. They want to get it out, get it done, get on to the next one.
Right.
Because that's true, me asking them to jump behind their computer, add a bunch of hotspots, is kind of an unrealistic expectation. It's just not going to happen. So if they're out there making the spin and they have to take photos anyways, if they click one button, they find an area where that detailed photo will add a hotspot automatically, and that's where they add their photo. Now we're talking about an extra 3 to 4 seconds of finding the right template, pressing the button, and the image image hotspot automatically appears. That image appears when they click on it. That's perfect case scenario because they have speed and they can highlight whatever they want to highlight, which is cool. You don't have to make every single location a hotspot location. I don't have to do that.
Sure.
But they have the option to. They have the option to have a lot. Now, you're right. So like, and when we first started to like scope out the AI automatic hotspot additions, etc., we were looking at some competitors, see what people are doing. The reality is that it's not AI. There's no AI. There's no like computer like find location and add it on there. They say that it's not true. It's actually just a templatized world. They have a template and they put the picture in the right place and they add the hotspot automatically. Oh, I'm sorry, the info spot automatically. The interior is the interior info spots are like this bunch of info spots just splashed into on the image, which isn't necessarily like beautiful looking, but it just helps with the engagement and the time spent on the listing. It's a big deal to the online performance. If people are clicking shiny objects, they sit there and click on all of them. They're there longer. Like in the dealership world, when I'm selling this, so one of our concepts is we want to keep the person in the dealership as long as we can, because they're more likely to buy if they're there for a long time. The same is true online. And they go, yeah, I get it. Cool. We're on the same page. So like, that's like one of the hooks. They already have this internal philosophy. If you ever bought a car in a dealership, they want you there forever. They want you there for 4.5, 5 hours. So by the time you're there, you're just kind of tired of negotiating. You just want to buy it and go home. You know, that's what they want to get you. That's what they want to do to you. It's ridiculous, but it's true.
We're gonna flip the script on those dealerships then.
Yeah, if you're buying a vehicle, like
right, it's kind of like the worst experience out there, you know.
it is, right? Yeah, and that's like an interesting thing. This is why the industry is going virtual. This is why this is really important, and it's important now, right? So Carvana.
So question, Zach. So the thing is, are you familiar with SketchUp? It's architectural software. It's basic and it's just a bunch of blocks. Google bought them, SketchUp. So SketchUp is just basically this box, and there's that other competitor of Cloud Pano that's a competitor also of the M1 Matterport, which creates these boxes. Okay, and then so when they're trying to do 3D elements, they're extruding boxes. Okay, so I'm thinking that in a relative of a auto, you could have an extruded box, and so then, you know, you got the front, the back, whatever. And I guess the thing of AI would be, you know, where you start, you'd have to tell the camera, this is where it is. So then the automatic would work. We want all of your things to start on this corner. And so then we would automatically know in this box where this plane is. And this is where these hotspots are going to exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only way we can have a template make sense is if we start the same spot every time.
Right.
And this happens to be, so Pierre made this for our customers. See this angle right here? This happens to be the angle he like loves, and every dealership loves this angle for the first photo. So this is probably where we're going to start, right? And we'll just train them. If you want AI to work, you got to start here. That's it. Now, training, onboarding, in my experience, and some folks could argue, so look, I'm not always right. But if I do a good job with my video onboarding, everyone's going to watch them one time and they're going to go outside and make spins and never watch the videos again. So if it's an easy software, which is very, very easy, they don't need a ton of training. They don't need a ton of support. They're not going to be saying, calling Mark, help me, Mark. How do I have a hotspot? No, the reality is that they are going to do it and they're going to move on and they're going to just be fine. They're educated human beings. It's like they're, not training 5-year-olds. We're training people who understand that, hey, this is my job to use this application, to use it well. And if I have any questions on getting started, if I haven't watched the videos, I'll watch the videos. If the videos don't answer me exactly, which they do, if they don't, then I'll ask the question.
Okay. So as far as I'm thinking, it's all good. I guess the one question was, is there any ability to do spin with the way we're at now without the spin? Are you following me? The example being, like when I was talking to the RV dealer, that was the thing. Everything external should be spin because you don't need 360. If you're shooting 360, you're shooting a lot. You're shooting a bunch of other things. It's all busy. People can get lost. So the spin makes sense. Was there ever a way that we could do spin? I mean, was it like an info spot then, and you could have had an MP4 video? I mean, how in the existing frame, how did you ever really do exterior? Was it just a bunch of photos, and how did that work? How did that work with our?
So you can use the automotive app to create a spin, and now it's on your account. And so let's say you have an RV that's like 40 on your.
Wait a minute. I didn't even realize there's an automotive app.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's like the coolest part. So I don't know how you did. I haven't shown it off well enough yet. I'll show it more. But so there's an app to capture spins. So let me show a video. Actually, let me hook you up, Mark. Okay.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the app is like what, being a reseller, it's like you sell the app, they use the app. App is simple. Show you right here. This video is helpful to kind of give you an idea. So see here, this is Pierre. See him right here?
Yep.
He's in the cloud.
Yeah, and I was wondering, is that part of the gear that we're selling for the 250? Is that gear?
So this lens, yes. I'll show you the gear in a second.
That $19 handheld thing, is that part of the 250 gear, or is it just because I saw the guy walking around with the
This is the handheld thing is optional. The exterior lens, the tripod, and the rotator are included in the kit.
Okay, because I'm thinking that's $19. I'm just saying
That's $19.
yeah. Okay.
It's not, you don't have to have it. I like it, but it adds a little bit of complexity, and Pierre doesn't like it. So we don't want to sell things people that they don't want or don't like. So we make that part optional. But
Well, it was the stabilization, right? It was the gimbal walking around.
Yeah, so I don't sell gimbal. Here's why: gimbals are like $200, $300. It adds another hardware element. It's like a big case, all this stuff. You don't need a gimbal.
Well, I'm just meaning something like a manual gimbal because you're hand holding outside the frame and you're walking around. Theoretically, if you keep your hands in the same spot, I don't know. But anyway, okay. So
Yeah, so to me personally, Zach Calhoun, that was different. I have a hard time keeping it level when my hands are closer together. My shoulders just get a little bit tight. When I have my hands farther apart, I can kind of flex my core, walk around. It's real smooth like butter. It's to each his own, I guess, is the answer. But I'll show you the hardware kit in a second. He's using the automotive app right here. So I'm gonna actually mute this because I've heard this thing video a million times. So he clicks record, he walks around, hits the capture. And then the interior, we can use a Ricoh camera, or we use the rotator, which I showed earlier, which is here, and that's part of the kit. And then what else? And then detailed photos you take inside the app as well. And detailed photos appear inside the thumbnail ribbon right here.
okay, fine.
You got me? So let's go on to the next photo if you really want to. And we have the ability to syndicate 2D still images to third parties. So you're going to get asked the question, hey, do you syndicate to companies like a company called Viato or HomeNet? These are syndicators. These companies like take photos, take information, like propagate them everywhere. It's kind of like an MLS, very similar. The answer is yes, we syndicate 2D still images. 360 spins are case-by-case basis. So like we can go directly to probably car gurus and publiccars.com, but we don't have those direct integrations set up. So like if any syndication questions come up, which it will come up, be prepared for that. It will be a 2D still image, yes. 360 spins are case-by-case, but the spins automatically appear on the website. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay.
So that will be like in the marketplace, you'll see it's very siloed. They're all kind of using like a similar companies or product suites of companies. And you'll find yourself like when you find a good customer, they all kind of use the same thing. And they, all of a sudden you have like one prospect becomes 5 prospects really fast because they're all using the same stuff. So they're like, oh yeah, we consider adding spin. We discussed it a couple weeks ago. We have 5 rooftops. What can you do for us? You know, yeah. So it's kind of a cool conjuring up or like uncovering of gold or like rooftop gold. But the app is what we sell, and then of course you can use the app if you want to provide the service. Does that make sense, Mark?
Yep. Thank you.
So what we've got here, so I'm already a Cloud Pano person, so I already have my account. So is this going to be like a separate account to our existing account, or we're going to use our existing account and this sits on the inside of it?
It integrates directly, so spins will be right on your dashboard.
Okay.
Now, if this is important, the automotive app, if you happen to log in with your Facebook account or your Google account, we call that Facebook Auth or Google Auth, you're going to want to create a separate account for automotive just with your email and password, because that's all we accept right now. So if we can actually help you if you really want to like go all to one account, we can do that, which would basically mean like we copy all your tours onto the new account, which is basically just like email and password is like how automotive works. So we upgrade based on that. It can be a little bit of a onboarding headache, but it's no big deal. It's like that's what works with automotive is email and password. So
yeah, I'll just probably keep it completely separate because it's a different thing. It's different, right?
Yeah.
So I will need a new account number and login for that.
yeah, and we've already upgraded your account that you signed up with. So check with us if you don't know what it is.
All
So
right.
if you want something new, that's no problem.
So having said it, there's 2 modes. One, we're going to be a service oriented and we're going to do all of their work, and they're still onboarding. There's still all that. And the other one is we're basically just a reseller. We're just selling the account and then, to maybe some hand holding, but minimal, you're on it. So on those, they're buying their own account, correct? They're not even on our account. I mean, right? So they're not even under our fold.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if it comes and we're doing the servicing, then it would be within our fold. Is that the one you're talking about? Is that what Gareth is mentioning?
Yeah.
That's what I'm referring to. Yeah.
Okay.
So either way, integrations are $300 a month, and then
Right.
you get the commission off that either way. But but if you do all servicing, you're invoicing, you're handling that, whatever you want to charge. I mean, you can charge a ton if you want. There's some folks who like do photos for automotive only, and they make a lot of money. They're a volume world, so it's a little different type of structure, different people you're bringing on, different world, but they do really well. And they leverage technologies like Cloud Panda, so that's it. That is your company, your thing. But not every dealership is a good candidate for that. So we're basically opening up resellers, basically saying, you want to sell them software, and if they already take their own photos, sell them software and pocket the commissions. Now, it's not always easy as you just show up to them and they just buy it right away. That's not always how it goes. That's never how anything goes. The reality is that people gotta look at something, consider it, look at the value, basically discuss, like, is the value proposition that I'm being told and promised, which we'd like and we want to try out and test, worth the amount of money we're going to exchange for it. And if the answer is yes, then they're going to move forward, right? And it's your job to like make sure they have a proposal and the link sent to them so they can sign up. And you follow, of course, you follow, etc. For example, there's a guy in Houston who they're going to build what's called a 360 photo booth. So some of these companies are so investing so heavily in the photo and experiencing it that they're building, manufacturing like $40,000 booths. Okay. So he told me he's building this, and I said, hey, listen, in the interim, before you get there, you can use us. It's only $300 a month. And he's like, yeah, but I want to make sure I get my investment, used. I said, well, of course, if you end up using that, that's great. But for now, you can use me. And I'm almost like saying, like, hey, you didn't have to spend 40 grand to get the same output, but just so you know, it's kind of like this weird competition. It was almost like I'm not trying to disappoint you, but I just let you know this is a thing you can do. It's very easy. So he's like trying to figure out at what point are they going to actually pull the trigger on that and start doing that. And once he knows, he'll start using me at least in between for 6 months or whatever, however long it takes to build that thing. And then maybe even integrate us into that system once they get it going. So that was his objection. It was a very interesting objection. It wasn't a no. It was a let me go figure out when I'm going to start this to get back to you. He's expecting me to call him. I should call him today. But yeah, so like you're going to be exposed to all kinds of interesting like conversations about the ecosystem, what they're doing, how they're doing it. But what's cool about this spin technology and this application is that everybody is considering, knowing they gotta consider something like this, or knowing they gotta improve their online listing performance. And so you can be that person that provides that through technology or through the service itself. Now the service side, like I'm not super, I haven't done myself. So like I can tell you what I've seen people do. I can tell you what people are charging. I know what they've done in the past, but me, I'm there selling software. That's what I'm best at. That's our product, of course. So there will be some learning. Some folks may provide services and just go crush it. And that's awesome. More power to them. Some folks are going to crush it with just software, or some folks are going to become a combination of both within the reseller program. If that makes sense.
Okay, question on the integration. So much of the integration pretty much is Nate setting it up so that it'll make it work, right? It's sort of the one-time deal more than anything. Is that correct?
Sorry.
I mean, the integrate, what I'm saying is there going to be somebody, literally, I'm going to help put your tour together. In other words, we give you these two things and we're going to do something. So more or less it works, right? So you do the spin and you got this interior shot and it's got the same VIN number. There really isn't anybody to handhold at all, right? And then if there was a hotspot, if it was AI, then I make sense. So maybe for a certain thing, for AI, you do this, located, it's in the front of the, like it's a rectangle, front, side, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, there it is. There's your hotspot. It's maybe towards the middle or the back, whatever, it's clear cut. Is that what we're talking about in integration? It's more, because one of the things is the old system, it was $400 or $500 a year. And they were a full-fledged, they had their full-fledged account. And then, that was the other thing. What about live? Will live be in this or not live be in this?
Yeah, so right now we're including Top Panda Live. in the package. Like they can use as much as they want, which is a great sales tool because they like that idea. And I show it, like, it's really cool. Yeah, I can show you inside. I can draw on it. If you want to sell somebody out of area, do it right here. Just send this link. Have your sales guys use that. And I do pitch it. I do say our first goal is to get spins up, get it actually on the site, and our next goal is to jump into using Cloud Panel Live and train the sales team how to use it. So we can keep it simple at first. People like simple, right?
Correct. But I mean, the point is there won't be an additional fee. In other words, if they're paying $300 a month,
No.
it's going to be include live, correct?
It's included right now, yes. If in the future we change that to make it a higher tier, we might do that, but not just yet.
Fine.
So I think to answer your first question, and it was a little bit of it choppy because I think my internet broke up for a second, but basically they just made the spin just very simple. There's no hand holding needed. There's nothing you need to do at all. Like they just do it and it's easy. Like let me show you my screen real quick.
Because the main thing I heard from Nate was this integration thing, which is something.
Oh,
There's some
okay.
software link to make this thing work. So that's really, the sexy sauce. That's the 500 thing. And then the 300 is there, it's basically the cost of the service and making the spin work, right? I mean, is there
Yes.
going to be anybody at Cloud Panel that's going to be interfacing with this thing? That's what I'm asking.
No, it's automatic, yeah. So I'll show you like how seamless it is for the user. And yes, the integration is a huge deal. And it's how we can even have a conversation. Like,
Right.
We can't even have one if we don't have an integration. It's like, don't even talk all the time. That's how it goes. So we have them set up. We can set them up. That's why we can book demos. This specific example, I'm showing you like a shared account. He's making so many spins that my dashboard is full of them, right? Because it's just like easy for him. There's no support involved. He hasn't called me one time. Okay, so this is pretty cool, self-explanatory here.
I mean, it's almost like realtor things. So at some point, the VIN's gone, right? So you don't want to be hosting it anymore, correct? I mean, what happens?
Yeah, so it's no problem if they have an active account to host it, right? It's on the
Right.
description. So that's nothing to worry about. Yeah. But you asked about integration. So I'm not sure if I showed this in this. I've showed a million people different things. So I'm just going to kind of possibly be repeatable. That's okay. The integration, once it's set up, we have to build it custom per location, and we have to like swap out this little script, send it to their team, to their website provider, and that has to get approved by all parties, this whole thing. But when it's set up, what you see here is like if the VIN is present in our system, this big button will appear, and when a viewer, like a shopper, clicks on the button, that spin pops up and overlays just like builder.com. So right now it's not loading because I'm on a Zoom call.
Because we're on the Zoom call.
Yeah, let's see if I can just pick a different one. This one might load a little faster. Yeah, there we go. So
Now that doesn't show the VIN on in the corner like you were showing the other demo. The VIN's not up there, but the system knows that's tied to that VIN, correct? When you clicked on that link.
exactly. So this is an interactive spin. As a buyer, I can buy this thing. I can look at it. I can enter in my information and send leads to the customer. It has their logo on every single one. We have a rule set up to where every spin they make, this is enterprise rule, it's enterprise integration. Every spin they make has their logo already in there, right? It's automatic. Cloud Panel Live is turned on if they want. If they want them off, we have it off. But the button only appears if the VIN number is present in our system. So when they click publish on the app, it's automatically on the website. And that is a huge deal.
That is not even a little huge deal. That's the major huge deal.
That is the major huge deal, yeah, because we've had a customer in the past who we told them, hey, if you just add the link to the listing and it's there. And they said, that's too much work. We're not doing that. Like it was like pulling teeth to copy and paste the link. And I think the reason is because there's just so much going on. Like person that captures it, presses publish, that's all they want. And so once we unlock these integrations, we start unlocking customers, we unlock demos and conversations, and things start to slow. So that's the key. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Every one of these dealers has like a tech guy to work with these outside agencies for this stuff, like you're showing the screen. And they have to load all this data. So that data has to be loaded. It deals with their inventory, deals with parts, it deals with a lot of things. So, so this is no big deal because we're just tying these pictures to it by the VIN. That's it.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
so it's very intuitive for him. It's one and done. He'd have to do that anyway.
Yeah. So this is an example of what's called a BDP, vehicle descriptions page. If you look here on this button, appears automatically if the Cloud Piano Spiz price integration is live, that's where it appears. So this is the same one we saw earlier. There's a search results page and a BDP page. Two different pages, two different scripts. There's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
That thing, that page that like here, this screenshot with that link and the other one with that link, is that part of the video thing that you got when the guy walked around? So it shows that because this is where the rubber meets the road, is that? What
Yeah.
you're just showing.
What are you asking me exactly? Like
Right now, the video, like you said, if we went to auto.cloudpano.com, if we
Yeah.
went there and we saw that tour, and so I had a link, on my site, like this one page that Garrett's talking about, and we did it. And then we said, okay, fine. And then here's the video. The next question is going to be, how easy is this going to be to put on? Where is this going to show up on my site? So then, does that video show that? Does that show that link on the page like Monument Chevrolet? Because if it's not, that would be nice.
Yeah, well, you're asking like marketing materials wise, can you present something that shows an example, basically what you're saying? And well, first off, let me answer a question before. Absolutely, every demo, someone says, what's it look like on the website? So it's part of your training.
Correct.
You're gonna be shown, so I have this example up on the demo. So I'm like showing, so here's a great example. I'll just like pull one up just for,
But this is our screen. I understand. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm showing, this is kind of bugging in the background, but I'll show the example of I have like 3 or 4 I like to show. I'll talk about our thesis, discuss what we're doing, discuss the features, discuss why it works so well, et cetera, et cetera. We want to keep them there as long as possible. Like, yeah, I get it. Cool, you get that, great. Here's what it looks like on the website. So like, I'll pull up this website and I'll just show the buttons, or well, mostly what I want to show is actually SRP. I want to show like when someone searches.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that's because monumentchevrolet.com. But the thing is that on the video that we do, it would be good because you're showing a Monument Chevrolet.
Mhm.
So, because that's on the video, correct? Is it on the video or is it not on the video?
On the
Did we
video,
take Monument off?
Which video?
The one that you showed me on auto.cloudpano.com.
Yeah,
Is that got the little icons up at the top corner and all this stuff? Is that shown like this?
I don't think so. Let me.
Okay, because that would be huge, because there is an example. Hey, here's your icon, here's this, and then how does it get in? Look, here's your site. Anybody that's got a VIN, we just publish it. It's bing, bing. That's it. Just this, I'm just saying, it's clean. It's all there. I don't have to take them to a bunch of different sites. I'm just saying, because an example, like you said, there's a lot of stakeholders, and some guy's going to explain it to somebody else, and it's like, look, because otherwise I'd have to be there to show them, to take them to this tour, to take them to that page, to show them that thing, that. And so it'd be nice that it would be, look, and how was that done? They took the pictures, those 2 pictures in the corner, done. And then they put in the VIN, it's done. You see, it's right there, and it shows up on here, and it's there. I'm just saying, that would be really clean.
95% of the time, we're gonna end up having some kind of like showing them demo, like they want to.
And I do that. I will do that. But what I'm saying is, if a lot of times I could be stuck to the technical guy, or I could be stuck to the dealer manager, but now he's got to go to the owner. And so he's going to want to show him something. So at that point, I'm out of the equation. Now he's out. We're like, what the fuck? What the? And then, yes, and that's all cool. But it would be nice to have it where there's like 2 versions of the demo. Does that make sense?
Sure. I mean, you can just show a screenshot too of like, here's what it looks like. Like a send over a screenshot. It's like,
Yeah.
you can there's all kinds of stuff you can do. I can show you what we do too. Like we have just stuff like that. Yeah.
This whole issue that you were talking about of the integration and about the dealers, and that's the one thing, is the time. It's huge for them. They don't want to take time. They're like, how is this going to mess up my process? Right now, I take my stinking little camera, I shoot a couple photos, I upload all those photos to the site, and then the dealer or that site, and obviously they have to load it to the VIN of the camper or whatever, all that's loaded. It's done for them. And so in this instance, we're even making it easier because from the software side of the manager of that site that's managing where those labels are, you've already done it. All you have to do is give me the photos with the VIN on it and it's done. There's not even another hand on the other side.
Yeah. So in this, yeah, I mean, it's simple. Now, there's all kinds of nuance, like, for example, this specific guy liked taking pictures with his Samsung phone. So I said, totally fine. And he took stills with his Samsung phone. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen for. He took stills with Samsung phone, and he wanted to spin his iPhone. He had two phones, and sure, whatever you want to do, you can do. That's fine with me. So those nuances will appear. They'll come up as part of the deal. Some folks will say, "Well, I don't want just a button. I want it to be interposed, superimposed, like right in the first photo when they click into it." We can do that too. You know, we don't do that much, but we can do it. So there's stuff like that, like just over time, we're gonna have to just walk through together, you know, as we set integration and stuff. But most of the time, what you saw right there, clean, simple. I mean, it's straightforward. It's not complicated, and people like it. It's cool. If you use it on social media, which is a differentiator for us than other folks, use the link anywhere. I had one guy ask me, "Hey, can I keep the video? Like, can I have the video of the 360?" I said, "Sure. Yep. Whatever you want. What do you want?" You know, he has 9 locations. I'm like, "You can have whatever you want." Anyways, so he's not an active customer right now, but I mean, like, that's what they want. Let us know. We'll figure it out. It makes sense. So yeah, I think I answered all your questions. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? It's like pretty fun to think about, like, what are the different options we have, like how creative can the customer be, what are their needs, how can we meet them quickly, and then ultimately how can we set them up and let them just go do it and not have to necessarily support them at all.
Right.
You know, that's the nicest part. That's the goal. Like, our onboarding videos better be comprehensive, you know, because the guy saying yes to type in his card, yeah, he's not going to be taking the photos. He's saying yes. He's going to send the onboarding link to the guy taking the photo. Hey, watch these videos, download this app, follow the instructions. If you have questions, let me know right away. And you know what? They should have no questions. That's it. So that's, if there's a question that comes up, then we're going to rectify it by making a better video or making another video. It's called the say it once principle. Not everyone abides by it, but I try to abide by it. Say it once, like make a video. Just say it once. Cool. Good questions. Keep bringing them. We're about to shut down soon because I'm just tired. I'm sure everyone else is too. My wife said I had the gift of gab or chatterbox, but yeah, I can get tired too. So any other questions?
Zach, that agreement that you were saying that's going to specify 5 for the first thing, then the 6 to 10, and then 10 on that. Where do we get that on the site? I mean, I've got a reseller already. I've got a reseller ID already from that camping thing. But what you know, where do I see that for the spin?
For the camping thing, what do you mean?
What I've already one of the reseller. I mean, I've already got an affiliate or whatever thing to be able to market. What I'm saying is, but that at that point, spin did not exist. So spin's existing now. So this tier of this pricing that you said.
How do you have reseller on the reseller account if you haven't already signed up for it? What do you mean?
What I'm saying is, I already went through that process to get the ability to market Cloud Pano to other people. You know what I mean? So they could buy an account. So I already have that, but spin did not exist at that point in time. So where is the information?
Did you watch the video at spinreseller.com?
No.
Okay, you got to watch the video there. It lays out all the commission structure, lays out how it works, how to get started, how to create accounts. So you literally just type in, I'll type it in here, spinreseller.com. Yeah, so that's why okay, now I understand why your questions are coming up. Okay, great. Most questions are answered there. So how it works, how to turn it on. Okay. And then, no, and Joe's got it. So Reseller.com video talks about, commissions, and just be aware, to join, we have onboarding fees, $4.97. So that's how it works. If you already have a Pro Plus account, which you do, you're already Pro Plus, you're eligible. If you don't, you're not eligible.
Right.
So that's the way it works. And it's been well received. I'm excited to get started. The goal is to have everyone have wild success. So we're gonna have a 6-week sales blitz. Sounds cool, cool marketing term, 6-week sales blitz. The reality is that 6 weeks, we're gonna spend together doing calls throughout the week to go crush it together, right? Because it's gonna take some learning curve. And it's gonna help me to be able to really make everything as smooth as possible, like we're doing it together. So when I go visit folks and pull out a business card, like Michelle Miller here is a good example from Hyundai Northwest, or Jeff Smith from Healthman Ford, etc. We're going to share cards. Like, okay, here's how I got this guy's card. Here's what happened. Like, and then we're going to share stories, share war stories, and this is how we're going to really go together fast. This is a good example of a war story. I went across the street. They said, go across the street. That's where Jeff is. Jeff's the guy. I walk in there. I say, hey, it's Jeff Smith here. I was told he's the guy to impress when it comes to software. Front desk lady said, he's at lunch right now, but you know what? I'll give you some information. She gets a card out, and there's no information. There's no phone number. She gives me his direct phone number because I smiled and I was kind. I said, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you? Great. Awesome. So getting the right information is a function of sometimes showing your pretty face. You know what I mean? You have to be pretty sophisticated. There's no pre-requirement to have. Trust me. But this is like what we're going to do together. Okay. Being the guy locally, it's a huge deal. Word of mouth.
I've got one last question.
I have one last answer. Go ahead. We're done.
Yeah, just one more. Yeah, the question was basically, look, if say Jim Henderson is a company which owns a Chevy and a Chevy dealership and a Ford dealership, and they own several dealerships, right?
Yeah.
So if you went into one and you ended up with the guy that runs and owns all of those dealerships, is that one account, or are you going to do like 5 accounts?
It's per rooftop. Yeah. So
Per rooftop. Okay.
those 5 accounts, it's 5. Like Audi Sugarland up here up the road, they have 17 locations. So the guy that was the GM was super nice, really kind guy. And I was being honest. Hey, I'm looking to see how you guys make decisions. Like, what's your ecosystem look like? So everything's up here, up the front office. It's at the group level. I said, okay, at the group level, tell me more. It's like, well, to get approved, it takes time. And there's a VP over technology, and his name is Chris Inglesworth. That's his name. I said, okay, well, can you afford me to? And I'll let be able to get a meeting. If I could. He said, sure. You know what I'll do? I'll email me. He said, email me, and I'll set you up with him. I said, cool, sounds great. So I wouldn't have got his information if I didn't walk the door. Like that guy, was kind enough to throw me a bone. And these guys, they're business people. They like to throw bones to people. I could, hey, you help me, I'll help you. It's kind of the world. You know what I mean? And once I started to see that, in person, this is when the light bulb started to go off about we need to do a reseller program. This is what we need to do, because I can't be in 50 states. But if people can be kind 50 times, then we're going to all grow together. This makes sense, right? So no matter how cool my marketing language is, my marketing videos, my sales letter, etc., those can be really cool, but it cannot substitute for the level of attention you get when you walk in person. I have 100% attention at that point. Just do, It's not Facebook ad, it's not YouTube ad, it's not flyer on the, it's just, hey buddy, I'm right here. How you doing? Nice to meet you. My name is Zach Callahan. And they go, great. Hi, Zach. How can I help you? And then we start the journey. We start the dance, So that just, when I saw that just continually happen, and people give me a lot of love, I don't want to say love, kindness.
Sorry, I realized what happened when you said something.
Al, you okay? I'm gonna mute you if that's all right. So that's like the crux of everything, I guess I would say. And I kind of off on a little bit of a rant, but yeah, so Your question was about multi-location. Yes, the answer is multi-accounts, multi-location, multiple integrations will be required. Sometimes a group will own 5 locations. They won't all use the same website provider. They have different integrations that are required. Sometimes Subaru will require dealer.com because they have a contract. There's all types of like company nuance, and OEMs are the manufacturers, and they provide, and they want you to use things like Ford Direct is Ford dealers sometimes. Well, we've met the Ford Direct guys. We've met them in person in Las Vegas. Super nice guys. They're in charge of a lot of locations. To be approved by them is a big deal. Now, they're cool with us being integrated. They're nice guys. They want to talk more. But the tail wags the dog. So what I mean is, if you bring on a Ford Direct customer, that integration accelerates, and we'll get approval because we met those guys already. Which is stuff that you can't do by yourself. You know what I mean? So all these things, these nuances, it all makes sense that we kind of do it together. So yeah, hope that makes sense. I'm getting tired. What am I saying right now? Hopefully,
So we're gonna start this process February, right? So
February. Yeah.
Cool.
You can start the training already. There's already training available to go through. Watch it, take notes, develop questions, throw them off me. Challenge me. Absolutely. My view of the world isn't perfect. I see a lot of opportunity. There's some things that I may think are overcomable objections that are not overcomable. So you're welcome to challenge me. You're welcome to say, hey, give me some, talk. You're welcome to like whatever you want to say and do. I'm not perfect. So my point is that some of the process, how I see it's going to roll out and go out, may not happen perfectly, but it's an opportunity we can all grow together. So I'm pretty excited. We're going to crush together. That's what I think. Anything else, Nate, you want to give? I'll let Nate to give a lot more feedback. I know you had a demo. Nate has a lot of experience talking to
I recorded the demo, by the way. I pressed record on it. So
cool. We got a recorded demo. We're going to be adding to the training. Wonderful.
yeah.
You said that there's training materials already that we have access to, right? Or
Yeah, you should have access to it already. You should have sent a link to it. If you didn't, we can send you a manual link to it.
okay.
That's like join. Did you get access to it, Garth, or no?
No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Well, we'll figure it out. Wait a couple of days, a few days.
Yeah, we got some days. So I'm giving myself some time. Launching this thing has been crazy. Okay, you should see the number of messages and links and questions and comments. And I'm only one person. I have my team that's helped me, but like people are sending me direct messages. And I'm trying to answer them. I'm trying to be responsive. I'm not, perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like doing my best over here. But I'm gonna check on Garth. Is it Garth or is it Gareth? Tell me.
Gareth.
Gareth. Check
Gareth.
on Gareth. Gareth.
Yeah.
Teachable account. I'll give you an example. One guy signed up, and he when he was signed up with his email, he forgot the C on .com, and so it said .om, and I know that was the wrong email. And so I saw that, okay, he didn't get it always onboarding, so I want to make sure he's got it. So here's, stuff like that.
Hey, Zach, is it possible to drop these recorded calls into the training as well? So that if somebody has access to the training, but they weren't able to make the calls and they have questions, maybe they could access it there?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll post it on Facebook, but I don't know if that's a possibility as well.
Yeah, I actually was trying to post on Facebook, and it was like taking forever, and I was like, I'm not sure if Facebook's going to even let me do this 2-hour call. It's like 2 hours, 14 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Same with this one, almost 2 hours solid. But yeah, so I'll put them there.
Okay.
It's a good idea. What else?
I've had a couple of people email me and ask like, hey, I couldn't make the call, but I have a few questions, things like that. And I thought this would just be a good way if they could access it via that training course, then that would be fantastic.
Yeah, good idea. I'll add both there. I'll try to do it right now in the next few minutes.
Awesome.
All
Cool.
right,
Yeah, that's all. I dropped a few automotive language tips in the chat, and then Ken had a question or just a comment about the letting you know that the email that was sent out said had kind of a discrepancy with the call time. So just to check into that. But that's about it.
Yeah, when you send out 23,000 emails, I guess they don't go out at once. They take a little bit of time. So that's probably
That's it.
my bad.
That's probably it. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for being on today. And for those of you who sat with us for today and yesterday, I know there's a few of you in here, but yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, guys.